911, what is your emergency?
Yes, this is Jesus Christ, and I just broke into the Pizza Hut. I broke the window in. I'm here. Jesus is here now. He's back to earth.
All right, and so you don't work there?
No, I just broke in, had a pizza. I'm Jesus.
And what was your name again?
My name is Jesus.
What's your last name, Jesus?
Christ.
Okay. And what do you look like?
I look like Jesus. What else do I supposed to look like?
Why'd you do that?
Because I'm Jesus. I can do whatever I want. We're tired of Judases on this earth. We're going to clean this earth up. So what are you up to?
This may be the strangest video I've ever had to make, but important nonetheless. Spring, Texas, woman owns an antique store. And some days after work, she likes to go through her security cameras and just kind of peruse through and see like what people are stopping and looking at, what kind of traffic she had that day. One particular day, someone stands out to her. She notices him because he's wearing a kilt, and you don't see a lot of people wearing kilts. As you can see, something catches his eye. It looks like maybe it's a spoon. He picks it up, nothing weird about that. But she's just watching because he picked it up and he starts to walk off with it. You know, shows a lot of theft in her business. And he does that weird, like, horse stomp. And he's behind this bird cage doing something. Anyone who's ever had a small child they were potty training knows that look. That's the look that little kids make when you're like, are you pooping? And they're like, Only he's not pushing something out. He's pushing something in that he then removed and decided to put back. I'll let that take a moment to sink in. And just in case there was any doubt, he wasn't done. He saw something else that caught his eye, that he picks up and looks at, and then does his little horsey stomp. There it is. And proceeds to keister it, as they say in the prison system, only he doesn't smuggle it out. After a moment, he takes it out, puts it back, and then starts talking to the woman he came into the shop with, presumably his wife. The owner saw this, and she was mortified. She was horrified. She was disgusted. She called the police, but she also started calling people with antique shops around town and said, hey, go look at your cameras for this date. See if you see a guy in a kilt, and told them what this guy did. And then one of those shop owners called her and said, guess who I have on camera? Yeah, kilt guy. And one, guess what he's about to do? Horsey stomp. And then he proceeds to shove an item where it doesn't belong, certainly if he doesn't own it. And then after jamming it around up there for several moments, he takes it back out and puts it back on the shelf. Now, he did this in her antique shop, so she called other antique shops, and they found him in another one. But who says it stops there? What does he do in Target? What does he do in Walmart? What does he do in, like, a CVS? Is he just looking for random items that he can shove up there and then put back on the shelves for other people to touch and purchase? Take a real close look at him, Texas. Looks like he has an underbite, maybe? I swear, someone's going to recognize him, if nothing else, because of the kilt. I feel like someone's going to be like, doesn't Dave always wear a kilt? Doesn't Dave have this thing, like, in his downtime, he's wearing a kilt? And he might be from somewhere else. He might have been visiting Spring, Texas. But the internet is one big, small town. So do me a favor, universe. Take a real close look at this, and somebody tell me, who is he?
Way you was throwing that ass back to me last night.
You like that?
I did not never find out that you were throwing that ass back to somebody else.
Oh, I would never.
Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Does anybody else worry about Jesus when he comes back for the rapture? Because a lot of his followers are probably going to shoot him with a gun. You know, like, can you imagine a guy with a darker complexion, long hair and a beard, and a long white robe comes into your house in rural Kentucky and says, let your children come to me? They would blast his head off with a 12 gauge. They'd be like, get the fuck out of here, you weird hippie. We're waiting for Jesus. And they expect Jesus to show up in a hat that says, let's party, you know? Oh, it's just gonna be really weird. I worry, you know?
Stop.
Stop.
That's why your nose big.
That's why your head big.
That's why your meat small.
Say something, I'm giving up on.
Babs, did your mom ever tell you the easiest way to send guests home with Thanksgiving leftovers? Try disposable cupcake tins. Set up a leftover station and have your guests help themselves. Perfect serving size for leftovers. They get a little bit of everything. Just cover. And the best part, right into your oven for leftovers the next
Big bag. Yeah, my bag is loaded up with snacks and different foods. Squeeze into this tiny shirt.
That, my friends, is how a condom works.
Say the weird thing.
I didn't want to, but she told me to. When you go to sleep and you finally drift into good sleep, that REM or resting eye movement sleep, and you're in your good sleep. There are tiny creatures that crawl out of the holes in your eyelashes to eat the bacteria off of your eyelashes. And just before you wake up, they crawl back in your eyelashes. They crawl back into the holes of your eyelid and just live there. But when you go to sleep, they crawl out every single time to eat the crust off of your eyelashes. I apologize. I'm going to go wash my dishes now. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Back in 2021, when I said this, here we have a rich white subdivision in the city of Baton Rouge that wants to separate itself and become its own city because it's tired of sharing its wealth with the poor blacks across town. They say that creating the city of St. George has absolutely nothing to do with race. They just want to create their own schools and communities and effectively resegregate the city. Keep in mind, this is Louisiana. We left America to help create another country called the Confederate, whose foundation was based on the belief that black people should be enslaved to white people forever. Well, on April 26, 2024, the Louisiana Supreme Court ruled in favor of white supremacists and allowed them to secede from the city of Baton Rouge and create their own whites-only city known as the City of St. George. Their reasoning behind it? It's because they filled out all the paperwork, so I guess we have to honor it. And that just isn't happening here in the state of Louisiana. It's happening across the South. You see, our governor, Jeff Landry, is working in connection with other governors across the states like Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida to help them create whites-only cities as well. And their plan for 2025 is to, in essence, revive the Confederate. This is what we're dealing with. Vote.
And here it is, the official vehicle of possession with intent to distribute, the USS Chrysler 300. Nothing says $5 on pump 3 and a pack of Newport 100s, quite like a Chrysler 300. A Chrysler 300 is the kind of car that makes women protective of their drinks at the bar. Chrysler is well known for putting their customers' credit scores on the side of their cars. Examples include the Chrysler 200, the Chrysler 300, the Dodge Charger 392, and the Fiat 500. You went out and bought a Chrysler 300 with your third baby mama's tax return. You can't be a SoundCloud rapper without a Section 8 Rolls Royce. Owning a Chrysler 300 as a luxury car is like buying a first-class ticket on Spirit Airlines. The 300 in the name Chrysler 300 is how many cams and lifters you're going to have to feed this fucking pig. As always, like and follow for more car roasts like this. Let me know in the comments what car or truck you want me to roast next. I do take requests, I will roast your car, and I upload a few times a day. Let me know, guys.
Man
Ronald Reagan directly ruined your life. Once upon a time, a bunch of rich people sat in a room. One of them said, damn, I hate paying taxes. Another one said, bro, me too. They said, you know what we need to do, right? We need to hire somebody to convince poor people to pay more taxes while we pay less taxes. They said, that'll never work. Someone said, wait a second, I might know a guy. But you see, at this time, Ronald Reagan was a General Electric spokesperson. He was really good at convincing poor people to do whatever the rich company General Electric wanted. But before that, he was a Democrat, an activist, very anti-racism, all for workers' rights. They said, hey, bro, we need to hire you for the opposite side. He said, you think I'm a... They said, here's a bag. He said, when do I start? You see, he took this job because his acting career was failing. So he said, hey, I'm pretty good at this. So he ran for governor of California. He won. Remember, his only jobs at this point were acting and convincing poor people to do what rich people want. And rich people loved him. He was the perfect storm. They called him the great communicator. One of his exact words were, send those welfare bums back to work. They said, Reggie! He said, but you like how I said that? No, they said, he could do no wrong. So it's only natural he becomes president of the United States. He says, okay, as my first act, I'm going to take the rich people's taxes from 70%. Yeah, fun fact, people like Elon Musk paid 70% in taxes. He said, I'm going to take it from 70% to about 28%. Everybody said, whoa, that sounds kind of low. He said, no, listen, y'all not hearing me though. He said, here's the plan. They're going to be super rich, and then they're going to want to spend more money on their companies, so then they're going to hire people like you. But people back then weren't dumb. They were like, what? He's like, but we're going to also stop those welfare black people from taking your money too, even though white people took most of the welfare money. They're like, well, I don't like black people that much. Okay, you're keep going. So he steps up the charm. He goes, y'all know me. Just see what happens when I deregulate businesses and let them do what they want. It's going to benefit you in the long run. Well, he lied, but listen closely. They were in a recession at the time. But what economists know is that after a recession usually is a time of mini prosperity, then back to recession. It cycles. So he knew that the economy was going to go back up because that's the natural cycle. So when the economy starts going back up, he's like, see, I told you. They were like, well, he was right. But in the long run, this happens. Basically, as the economy goes up, everybody starts getting paid more. But from when he became president, everybody started getting paid the same while the economy went way up. What does that mean? Well, the money had to go somewhere, right? And it all went to the rich people. Yeah, right up until 1980, laws were protecting you a lot more than you think. After hundreds of years of Theodore Roosevelt and Franklin Roosevelt battling, making sure workers have rights, he in one swoop demolishes it and flips it 180. And he was the only person skilled enough to convince poor people that they need to pay more money while rich people pay less. They need to not have workers' rights, and rich people can control their rights. And to this day, Reagan's policies still stick. In fact, Donald Trump just copied Ronald Reagan. Yeah, make America great again. That was Ronald Reagan's campaign slogan. He just took it.